Hi, welcome to Java Coding Assist. In this video, we are going to see how to implement security in an API gateway. Here we are using Zool to create an API gateway, and now we are going to implement security within this API gateway. We have created an API gateway using Zool, and we have implemented routing and load balancing within this API gateway. Next, we have to implement security within this API gateway in order to secure our backend services. We are going to use OAuth 2 to secure our backend services. That is, we are going to integrate Zool with OAuth 2 and implement the security in the API gateway. As we are using the OAuth 2, we need an authorization server at the backend. So we are creating an authorization server, and it is a client of Eureka server. So you can run multiple instances of OAuth 2 authorization server. And the microservices or the REST APIs, now they act as a resource server. As all these backend services are now secured by the OAuth 2, all the requests to these backend services must have the OAuth 2 token. So whenever the request comes in, the API gateway checks for the token. If the token is present, it is directly routed to the corresponding microservices. And based on this authorization information in the request is served by the microservices. These backend microservices are now secured by this OAuth 2. Only those requests which are authorized by the authorization server will be served by this backend services. So we have to implement the security in the API gateway in such a way that the requests which are authenticated will reach the microservices, and the requests which are not authenticated will be blocked here in the gateway itself. But the request has to reach this OAuth 2 authorization server in order to be authorized. So we have to implement the security in the API gateway in such a way that all the requests to the authorization server will be permitted, and the requests to the other microservices will be allowed only if it is authenticated. That security configuration has to be done here in the API gateway. So this is how the security will be implemented in the API gateway, and the backend services will be secured. We can now go back to our Zool proxy application and see how to implement this security in the API gateway. Let's begin by creating the OAuth 2 authorization server first. For that, we need to create a sample application with these dependencies: Spring Web, Spring Data JPA, H2 database. This is the Cloud OAuth 2 security and Eureka Discovery client. This OAuth 2 authorization server is also the client of a Eureka server, so that it will be a part of the service discovery. And next is the historics. This is to implement the circuit breaker. So now we can generate this application and import it in Eclipse. I have imported the sample application into Eclipse, and I have created the OAuth 2 authorization server. We can briefly now go over this OAuth 2 authorization server. If you have any doubts regarding this OAuth 2 authorization server, you can just check the video on custom OAuth 2 authorization server. I'll just give the link in the description. Now we can just go through this OAuth 2 server briefly. Here we have three configuration classes. The first one is the authorization server config, which extends the authorization server configurer adapter. And here we configure the authorization server security configurer, client detail service, and the authorization server endpoint. And next we have the web security configuration, where we configure the user detail service and the HTTP security. The next one is the user resource server config, which extends the resource server configurer adapter. Here we configure the HTTP security to access the user's resource. We do have an user resource controller class to access the user resources, and the corresponding models and service classes to access the user resource. And we also have the user details service to load the user's details from the database to authenticate the user, and the client details service to load the client details from the database in order to authenticate the client. We have created an authorization server, and next step is to make this authorization server and Eureka client. So in order to make this authorization server and Eureka client, you have to add this annotation at enable Eureka client so that this application will become a client of Eureka server. We also need to set some properties in the application.properties file. The first one is this application is an Eureka client and it has to register with Eureka. So this is set to true, and it has to fetch the registry from the Eureka server for load balancing. So this is set to true. And the third one is the default zone, which is the URL of the Eureka, and we prefer the IP address, and finally the host name is localhost. So these properties must be set here in the applications.properties file, and now this application will be a Eureka client for the Eureka server. The next step is to make all these backend services as a OAuth 2 resource server so that it can verify the incoming request against this OAuth 2 authorization server. Let's see how to do that. We do have an user service. This is a backend service which serves as the user resource. To make this user service a resource server, we have to create a user resource server config class that extends the resource server configure adapter, and we have to configure the HTTP security for this user resource, and it has to be annotated with the @enable resource server so that this application will be identified as a OAuth 2 resource server. Here you can just fine tune the security by adding more specific details to the HTTP security. That is, for now any request has to be authorized. You can just fine tune it by adding more specific details. That is, for any HTTP GET method to users must have the authority of read users, and post methods should have create user authority. Like this, you can just fine tune your security here. We do have these authorities already in our database. You can check here. We have just given permissions. These are our permissions, and these permissions are cross-checked here in user resource server configuration. So now our user service is more secured. And the next step is to add the configurations in the applications.properties file. Here we have to configure the OAuth 2 related properties. First one is the client ID. The client ID is user, client secret, and the resource ID. This resource will be identified using this resource ID. And the next one is the token info URI. This is the check token endpoint of the authorization server. Whenever this user service receives a request with a token, this token is verified with the authorization server. And this is the endpoint where the token will be verified with the authorization server. And this is the user information URI where we get information about the authorized user. So these are the properties that has to be set in order to make this application as an OAuth 2 resource server. Now this user service application will be a OAuth 2 resource server, and whenever it receives a request, it just verifies the token with the authorization server and serves the request. Similarly, we can modify this utility service too. Here we have added the utility resource server configuration class to set the HTTP security and resource ID, and we have included that annotation. And similarly, we have set the properties also in the applications.properties file. The client ID for this application is util, secret is bar, and this is a corresponding resource ID for this resource, and this is a token information URI and the user information URI. So now we have made both the utility service and the user service as OAuth 2 resource servers. So now we have the authorization server and the backend services as resource servers. The next step is to implement the security in this API gateway such that all the requests to the authorization server will be permitted by the API gateway, but any request to this backend services will be verified here in the API gateway before being routed to this backend services. We can do that by turning this API gateway application into a resource server and configure the HTTP security in the resource server so that all the requests to the authorization server will be forwarded by default to the authorization server, and any request to the backend services will be verified with this authorization server before being forwarded. So we can go back to the Zool application and configure this HTTP security. This is our Zool proxy application. The first step is to add the security dependency, OAuth2 dependency here in pom.xml. So we have to add this dependency, Spring Cloud Starter OAuth2, so that we can implement the security here in Zool proxy. The next step is to create the resource server configuration. So we can just create a new class Zool resource server config that extends the resource server configurer adapter. We have to add the @configuration and @enable resource server annotations so that this application will be identified as a resource server. Next, we have to override the configure HTTP security method, and we can configure the HTTP security here. HTTP.authorizeRequest. This means that all the requests has to be authorized, and matches. Here we specify the path OAuth. So any URL which has the path OAuth will be permitted to reach the authorization server, and any other request has to be authenticated. So here we just allowing the access to this authorization server, and any other request has to be authenticated. Only authenticated requests will be forwarded to the backend services. For now, we are just disabling the CARS and CSRF just for learning purposes. We can later configure this to secure your application against the cross-site forgery attack and cross-origin attack. So now we have configured the HTTP security. Next, we have to configure the root for the OAuth2 authorization server here in applications.properties file. We have configured the roots for the user service, utility service, Zool service. Likewise, we have to configure the root for the OAuth2 service too. OAuth2 service is the name of the OAuth2 server, and here we have configured the roots to the OAuth2 server. Any request which has OAuth in its path will be mapped to this OAuth2 service, and the request will be forwarded to the OAuth2 service. Here, strip prefix is set to false. It means that this prefix won't be removed from the URL. It will still be a part of that request URL. So here we have set the client ID as Zool, client secret, the resource ID, and the token information URI and the user information URI. These are the properties that has to be set for the resource server. So now this Zool proxy has also become a resource server, and we have implemented the security to secure the backend services. So when you check the database here in authorization server, you can see all these clients have already registered itself with the OAuth2 authorization server. Only then it can send request to the authorization server or verify the tokens with the authorization server. Let's now run all the applications one by one and see how this works. I have run all the applications, that is the Eureka server, authorization server, user service, utility service, and the Zool proxy application. Now all the services are up and running. We can test how the Zool proxy works in Postman. Before that, we can just have a look at the Eureka dashboard. Here you can see all the services, 4 services running. The user service, utility service, OAuth2 authorization server, and the Zool proxy application. Here first we have to get the OAuth token, and this is the URL to get the token. This is the URL of the Zool proxy. Actually, our OAuth2 service is running in port 8080 and our Zool service is running in port 8083. Here we are just passing the host name of the Zool proxy followed by the OAuth token, which is used to get the OAuth2 token from the authorization server. And seeing this OAuth in its path, the request will be forwarded to the OAuth2 service. And here we have configured to allow all the requests which has OAuth in its path. So this request will be forwarded to the OAuth2 authorization server. Here we have to give the as basic auth. Here we have to give the client details. And this is a client ID and a client secret. This client must have already been registered with this OAuth2 authorization server. And in the body, we give the username password and followed by the grant type. Here we are using password grant type. Let's now send the request and see whether we get the token. Actually, instead of getting the token, we get an unauthorized message here. This is because Zool proxies generally blocks the headers like authorization and cookies. They block some of the sensitive headers, and that's why we are not able to get through this. We can just go back and remove that so that Zool will be forwarding the request to the authorization server. We have to set the value in applications.properties file of Zool proxy application. Zool.sensitiveHeaders is equal to. So we have to make this empty. This states that there is no sensitive headers and Zool doesn't need to block any of the headers. You can set for all the services globally like this, or you can just set it independently for each service. Zool.roots.authservice.sensitive headers equal to. You should leave this empty. Means that there are no sensitive headers and Zool proxy can forward all the headers to the backend services. So there are two ways to set that. Here I am just setting it globally. Now we can just save the application and test it again. Now we are sending the same request once again. Now we are getting an Hystrix timeout because the request is taking more time to reach each of the microservices. We can just overcome this by setting the connect timeout and read timeout property in applications.properties file. Here we have to set ribbon.connect timeout is equal to 10 seconds and ribbon.read timeout is equal to 10 seconds. Here we just give some time for the request to establish the connection and to read the data back from the service. So now we can just save the application, test it. Yeah, here we are getting the access token from the OAuth2 authorization server. We are just giving the request to the Zool proxy and from there it is getting forwarded to the OAuth2 authorization server and we get back the OAuth2 token from the authorization server. Let's use this token to get the resource from the resource server. We are just going to get the list of users from the user service. The authorization type is OAuth2 and in the headers for the authorization value we have to add bearer space the token. Yeah, we are getting a list of users from the user service. So this is how the password grant type works with Zool proxy. Now we can just go back and try the authorization code flow with Zool proxy. For the authorization code flow, we need the client application. So first we can just create a client application using these dependencies: Spring Web, Cloud Security, Timeleaf and Spring Boot DevTools. Let's generate the application and import it in Eclipse. I have imported the sample client application into Eclipse, and in this application we do have a controller called home controller that handles the request to the backend services, and we have an HTML file which renders the data from the backend services. Here we have the links to call the backend services, and this authorize is the link which initiates the OAuth2 authorization code flow, and utilities is a link to get back the utilities from the backend services after obtaining the token from the OAuth2 authorization server. Logout user is used to log out the users. So this is a HTML file, and also we have an web security configuration class that extends the web security configurer adapter, and this is used to configure the security to this client application. Here we configure the security to the different endpoints. Here only the users with the roles admin, manager and user can access the utilities endpoint, and other endpoints are permitted to all. This is the actual OAuth2 authorization code flow. The client application first requests for a code to the authorization server by passing its client ID, and once it gets the token, it just sends the code along with its client details and get the access token back from the OAuth2 authorization server. It then uses this token to get the user's information and then uses this user information to grant access to that client application for those users. OAuth2 authorization code flow works the same way with Zool too, except that the Zool proxy will sit in between the client application and the backend services. all the requests will go only through the Zool proxy to the backend applications, except that the code flow remains the same. The client application will send the client ID and gets the code, and again sends the code and gets the token and uses that token to get the information from the other backend services. Now we can see how the code flows in the controller class. This is the authorize endpoint which initiates the OAuth 2 authorization code flow. So first what we do is we are just going to call the authorize endpoint of the authorization server. And here we pass in the response type as code and the client ID and the redirect URI. This is the callback URI to which the authorization server responds with a code and the scope is read. We are just going to send this request to the OAuth 2 authorization server and this is going to go through the Zool proxy. Here you can see in applications.properties, we have given the authorization URI. It is first directed to the Zool proxy and this is the endpoint to get the code from the authorization server. So first the request will be going to the proxy and from there it will be mapped to the authorization server. And this is our callback URI. This is a client application from where we are just sending the request. That is this Zool client application. And this is the callback endpoint where you will get the code from the authorization server. Here I have given the server.port, that is nothing but this 8084. So whenever you write like this, it will be substituted with this value server.port. So this is the callback endpoint. After sending this request to the authorized endpoint, you will get the code back here in this endpoint. So we get the code here. What we do is we just again send a request to the token endpoint to get the access token. This is a token endpoint. Again, we are just sending the request to the Zool proxy and this is the OAuth token is the endpoint where we get the access token from the authorization server. So we send a request to the access token endpoint. And here along with this request we send the code which we got from the authorization server and the grant type is authorization code and again we have to send the redirect URI and along with this request we have to set the headers too. The headers contains the client credentials. The client ID and the client secret is encoded using this base 64 and we set it in the authorization header, authorization basic and we set the encoded credentials here. We are going to send the request using this REST template along with this authorization header. The response to this request will be the access token. So we are going to get the access token from the response and again now we are going to call the user information URI. That is the so when sending this request we have to send in the access token which we got from the authorization server. We have to add it to the authorization header along with this bearer keyword. As a response to this request, we get back the user details. We then use this user details to authenticate this user and grant access to this client application. So this authorization code flow is used whenever the user is not ready to provide any username and password to the application and he just authorizes the client application to get some of the user's details from the authorization server and use that details to authenticate the user. So this is how the flow is going to be. So here you can see we just get the name of the user and permissions of that user and we make use of that to authenticate the user and set the authentication token in security context holder. So this is how we authenticate a user using this OAuth 2 authorization code flow. Also here we have the model classes to map the data from the backend services and in applications.properties file we have to set the cookie name for that session. You can just give any name here but you have to set this cookie name here for that session. Now let's run the application and see how it works. We have started all the services and all the services are up and running. We can check that in Eureka dashboard. Here you can see all the 4 services are running. Now we can just call the authorize endpoint of our client application. Client application is running in 8084 and we are just calling the authorize endpoint. You can see now it is redirected to the authorization server login page. As soon as we called the authorize endpoint of our client application, we just get the login page of our authorization server. That is, we are redirected to our authorization server. Here the user has to authorize the user by giving the user's username and password. You can see here it just asks for the user's authorization. Do you authorize the MVC client? That is the client application. Here you can see the client ID for this Zool client application is MVC client. Here it asks whether you authorizes this MVC client application to access your protected resources. And here it is asking for the read scope. If you approve it, authorize. You will be taken back to our client application. Here you can see the client application has authorized the user Sam using the details from the OAuth 2 authorization server. We have taken the name and roles of that user, and this client application has authorized this user by getting the user details from the authorization server. So this is how the OAuth 2 authorization code flow works with the Zool proxy. So this is all about implementing security in Zool using OAuth 2. Please let me know your doubts and feedback in the comment section. Thanks for watching. Bye.